We respectfully request the Sangha great virtues for the sake of this assembly and all living beings. Please turn the wonderful Dharma wheel to teach and guide us how to end birth and death, leave suffering and attain bliss, and quickly realize non-birth. Cung thính đại đức thắng thịnh, vì thứ pháp hội cập nhật tiết chúng sanh, đến chiến diệu pháp luân giao đạo ngã mùng, như há liêu sanh thoát tư ly khổ đạc lạc, tốc chứng vô sanh. Homage to the Blessed, Noble, and Perfectly Enlightened One. Nam mô Sa Nan Thô Sư Chế Đô Ye Ở La Hư Đi San Miao San Pu Tô Xie. Nam mô Tát Đắc Tha Tô Già Đa Già A La Đê Tam Miệu Tam Bồ Đà Thoa. The unsurpassed, profound, subtle, and wonderful Dharma in 100,000 million aeons is difficult to encounter. Now that I'm able to see and hear, I will receive and maintain it. I vow to fathom the thus come one's true and actual principles. Wu shang sheng sheng wei miao fa bai qian wan jie nan zao yu wo jin jie wen de shou chi Yuan Jie Ru Lai Zhen Shi Yi. O Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, Great Master Ching Liang, Great Master YongHua, all good monks and nuns, and all good advisors of Emitofuo. 诸佛菩萨、精良大士、师父上人、各位主持人、各位善知识、弥陀佛。Chư Phật Bồ Tát, kính thưa Thanh Lương Đại sư Hòa thượng Thiên Hóa, quý thầy cô và các vị thiện tri thức ca Như Đạo Phật. Hello everyone, today is the 3rd of November 2023. We're here at Way Mountain Temple to discuss the prologue. We're on door number 2, slide 624. We're talking about Master Chuta's classification of the Buddha Dharma. He classified his fourth classification of a Buddha teaching, and the final one is the perfect teaching based on the Lotus Sutra. So his Master Ching-la explains this kind of teaching from a great Master Chuta. Okay, this is very important information. You don't have to understand, just listen to it alone is very good, because this is the standard jargon that the Mahayana Buddhists use to discuss the teachings. Okay, the 4 teachings from Master Chuta, this perfect teaching here. All right, yes, JMT has a question.
오랜만에 질문을 하려니까 떨리는데요. 안녕하세요.
안녕하세요.
지난주에 진제와 속제를 동시에라고 하셨습니다. 반야심경 공의 의미에서 공을 불이 아니다. 둘이 아니다. 불이라고 하셨는데 중도와 불이는 같은 뜻인가요?
Last lecture, you talk about the middle way. And then in the Heart Sutra, there is a concept of the non-duality. So middle way and then non-duality, is this the same thing?
Yes, it is. Basically, it's the same thing. Okay, very good. The Buddha teaches this concept all over the various sutras, and depending on the audience, he would go deeper or more shallow. All right? So the Heart Sutra is a teaching for bodhisattvas, therefore he did teach about the middle way. Okay? But here in the Avatamsaka Sutra, we are all very fortunate to be able to be exposed to Master YongHua's teachings. Here in Avatamsaka teaching, his most profound teaching and his last teachings basically is comprehensive. He no longer holds back. So I find it very informative because, to be honest with you, I read this prologue once before and I couldn't understand a thing, maybe 1%. So I glossed through the words. And this is a long, long time ago. And even though I didn't understand, now it planted the causes for me, seeds for me to come back and revisit it. Okay? Because, you know why? It may not make sense to you, but to me, it bothered me that I couldn't understand it. So I said, someday I will understand it. So now I'm very grateful that you gave me a chance to revisit this and investigate it again. Okay? So this is, we're all learning from his. And it's very, very good teaching. And he's so detailed. And it's amazing how much he knows. So I imagine, because he didn't really go to training school directly, so for him to explain this sutra here in the US back then, he had to start researching into the profound principles explained in Master Ching Liang's teachings. Therefore, it's a learning experience for him as well. Okay? We need to do research ourselves. So it's great that we're able to study his teachings again and what he chose to teach his disciples. That always intrigues me. How he brought them there, I wasn't around, so I wasn't privy to his teaching methodology, nor did he find it important for him to transmit it to me. He never taught me much in terms of training others. Actually, zero in terms of training and teaching others. And so I'm intrigued because now we have the treasure of what he felt compelled to impart on his students, and what are the strengths of that teaching and the weaknesses. Because I saw the strengths as him able to produce a lot of enlightened people, but also the weaknesses that they are not. I'm not impressed enough. Let me put it that way. So my personal interest was what did he do, and how they got there, and why didn't they go any higher? Was that something missing in his teaching or not? In particular, and you find out as we go along, we go a little bit further here down the road. You see how I discovering, because I've been preparing this sutra lecture. They're very hard for me, to be honest with you. It's very theoretical, and it's really the high end of the teaching school, where if you want to say I'm a teaching specialist, you need to delve into these concepts. Okay, but so for me to learn about these concepts are kind of difficult. I never learned about these firsthand, and so now to learn about this is very, very, very good for me personally. Okay, but also my interest, I have a different angle. Not only is it about me acquiring knowledge, that is not that important to me. My interest is that why he chose to teach it that way, and that's how his disciples got there. Okay, and what's missing? Why did they only get there and not higher? That's my angle. Okay, so I'm intrigued. More of that than the theoretical or the jargon side. Of course, he is more, Jesus is more interested in the jargon side, yes, and the pedagogy, the principle side. I'm not interested in principles. I'm more interested in how to use this knowledge to help you become enlightened. Okay? And those who are enlightened, I want you to broaden your base so that you have seats for a more stable level where you are, and will help you in the future as well. All right, any questions or comments? This is a treasure to me. It's too bad that people of my generation, they didn't really delve into this at all, because I noticed, because he taught is so extensive in this teaching, and he also has the same angle as me in that he needs to produce talents. So he taught certain things I felt very complete. For example, in this teaching here about the truth and the way they translate it as the absolute truth and relative truth, to me, is a very poor translation of Sudi. Sudi is actually mundane truth. So here, he's probably this person here, later they changed it to mundane truth, is much better. Primary sense or chandi or is the absolute truth. Absolute truth is that everything is empty, bar none. Everything at all. Okay? Everything you have, everything you see, everything you hold dear to you is empty. That's absolute. There's no higher truth than that. And then also, relative truth, or better yet, mundane truth, is that the truth of the world. The world is true to us. Okay? We live in it because it's real to us. Therefore, it's real to us. All right? And so, this is the only place in his teachings I noticed. For example, I studied his Shrangama Sutra. I studied his other sutras, Lotus Sutra and so forth. Only Avatamsaka Sutra where you find these three contemplation, three truths. Okay? And this is a very important part of the training for you. As I said, let's see. Let's see who's here. As I said, the natural progression of this is the specific formula, specific recipe that we use in order to produce talents. And I'm seeing him explaining it, but not in a way, it's not in a way that is that clear to you. Maybe it's on purpose. It's not meant for it to be clear to you, because it's not about knowledge, okay? For you, it's knowledge for us. Because because it worked, whatever we did worked already, so now this is the principles behind it. So that's why we're learning about principles versus the manifestations or the phenomena, okay? The noumena and the phenomena. So you have the theory behind it, and this is actually what happens. So they both are together. This is the concept in the Avatamsaka Sutra. Okay? So that's why, for example, most of my peers would stay away from the concept of Li Shi. Li is principle, Shu is manifestation or nomina or principles, and phenomena is manifestations. Okay, and that's what happens. And this is a concept that's elaborated extensively in the Avatamsaka Sutra. And this is the basis of the training. Okay, and now I don't intend to go into too many details for you because of it's not necessary for you to do it. This is, once you become enlightened, you can read this and say, that's what he did to me. That's what I went through. Okay? So my interest is for you to reassure you that there is a methodology here that the teachers of old have used. And so only to increase your comfort level and look around you. This is what has been happening. This is the only way for you to make it. This is the other way. Okay? The principle behind it is it. It's no other principles. But how we do for each and every one of you would be different. Does it make sense? The principle of how to develop talents, but each individual has different characteristics. Therefore, it has to be custom tailored, if you will. Is that clear? So that's why there is in Mahayana, we have this sudden teaching. You need to have the sudden teaching to make it happen faster for you. Them Chinese side, they don't have sudden teaching. That's why they don't need to have a teacher. Sudden teaching, you need to have a teacher and say, hey, cut it out. Okay? You don't do that. You keep on making mistakes. And we're shooting yourself in the foot, as I explained earlier in a chant session. Okay? Among other things. So that's why the sudden teaching is critical in Mahayana. And honestly, I haven't seen him do it yet. To me, that's why I'm looking at what he's doing to his disciples and see how he explains it. Okay, dokie? So, again, this is for your comfort level. There's a methodology of developing talents that has been used in Buddhism time and time again. And you go through this principle here. You need to go through the three contemplations. Contemplations, the absolute, meaning that, let me recapitulate for you. Those of you who believes what I told you, that you are fourth-stage Arhat, you could have the option and say, oh, Master is BSing again. Okay? So be it. It's not the first time I BS, by the way. Nothing new to me. If you think I'm BSing, you're right. But if you in a fourth-stage Arhat, then you need to move into this territory here called the three contemplations. Okay? Whether you do it in a systematic way, methodical way or not, doesn't matter. You have to go through these in order for you to go to the promised land of enlightenment. Is that clear? So you have to do something called the absolute truth contemplation. I'm spelling it out for you because them people don't know this. Only us understand this. Okay? And Master Shihua never really explained this clearly here, for example. They still stick in the general philosophical side of it. Okay? And the reason I explain it to you is to pique your interest, and also the ones who are very advanced right now, okay, you see that in the future, when your time to train your own generation, your own disciples, and you see, you follow what I've been doing to you, and you imitate it, you see that actually these people are going through, whatever you do to them has to go through these three things, three contemplations. Is that clear? Okay? And don't worry, if you're too low, it's okay. It's okay. Give it time. Okay? Maybe not this lifetime, but maybe a million more lifetimes. Who knows? But the point here is that once you reach the fourth stage Arhat, okay, you see emptiness, but you haven't seen absolute emptiness yet. That's why it's called absolute emptiness. Okay? Meaning that, and it will be clearer. And after that, after you see, and meaning you can really drop everything, anything. Listen carefully. When I said that you are enlightened, that means you can drop anything. Nothing sticks anymore. Much like the al dente spaghetti. You throw it against the wall, and it falls down. It doesn't stick. Nothing can attach to you. It's so cool. What depression? But some idiots don't believe me. They say, oh, I feel so bad. So stupid. Anyway, so that's why you need to go to the absolute truth here, where we said, nothing can stick with me. And after that, you are so free. You are not attached to anything in this world. No temples, no money, no master. I say, master who? What's your name again, sir? YongHua? YongHua, sounds familiar, but do we know each other? Okay, you look at me and say, you are nothing. And you're right. Okay? But then if you want to go further, you have to listen to me. Therefore, I become real to you. You don't listen to me, you struggle a lot longer. And if you run away from me, good luck. So that's called mundane truth. Because mundane truth is that your master is true. Okay? You want to go further? Do you want to go further? Huh? Do you think I'm pretty? What is the name of that song? How does that lyrics go? Boy George? Never mind. You guys are so boring. You don't listen to music, don't watch movies. What do you live for, by the way? Everything is empty, right? Never mind. And see, so you see the rationale. You may drop everything. You can't drop everything. But then you look at me and say, should I drop him? You say, no, I should not. That's a contemplation of the mundane truth. You understand? Some things that must be important to you. Got that? I'm important to you. Master YongHua is important to me. Okay? Selectively. Red cars are important to me. Okay? So that's why. And then in the middle way sense, and eventually once you understand, you matured in your mundane contemplation, you have to contemplate in middle way. So that's why there is a methodology, okay, that you don't necessarily have to really understand, okay, because understanding by the scholars by these people is overrated. It doesn't do much, okay? Because, for example, Master YongHua disciples, they translated this, they can tell you about this, but they don't really know how to do it, okay? And that's not Buddhism. Buddhism is about how to do it, okay? We explain it to you because we like to have fun, explain some things to you, okay? But we cannot explain everything to you. So that's why we never emphasize my side of the pond, okay? Master YongHua is more on the other side where he wants to explain. My side of the pond, I don't want to explain, okay? Explanations for yourself. You look for it yourself, okay? So anyway, so after that, you have to learn the middle way contemplation, all right? And so that comes, these things comes in the forms of, in our temple, contrary to his temples, in the forms of assignments. Meaning I tell you, hey, do this. Hey, do that. Don't think for a moment when I ask you to go paint the wall for me, it's because I need you to paint the wall for me. You paint the wall for me because it's for you. It's never for me. Does it make sense? When you cook in the kitchen and help out a little bit, okay, it's primarily for you, believe it or not. Okay? That's why if you do that, you don't need to understand clearly, when is it over my absolute truth contemplation? Do I do the relative truth or the mundane truth, or do I do middle way? It will happen naturally, eventually. Naturally. Yeah? All right? Yeah. But it seems like it's madness, but actually there's a methodology behind it. Okay? And you don't need to know because you are not a trainer. You're too low. See, I'm becoming more polite. I don't call people stupid anymore. I'm learning. Anyone else? Any questions? All right? So it happens naturally. Okay? So naturally because it's effortless, it's like, it seems like haphazard, actually. It happens naturally with the assignments. Eventually means that on the other side of the track, eventually that means that because you're doing this, you planted the seeds with all the Mahayana trainings. Eventually, in a few million years, maybe eventually you get there. And that's their side. Our side is no eventually. You can take eventually and do whatever you want to do with it. We don't want eventually. We want now. We want this lifetime. We don't have time to waste. Questions and comments? So there's a question earlier, you ask these things, I don't see anything, should I believe you, shouldn't I believe you? Oh, don't believe me, you ask me the wrong questions. I'm never asking anyone to believe me. You weak, you should run away. Yes, 7.
Thank you, Master. I'm trying to think of how to word this. How do we, what do we do to deserve to be taught?
Okay, a good question. Number one, you need a lot of blessings. For you to hear the certain teaching, you need a lot of blessings. Them people, for example, don't hear it right now. They don't have enough blessings. And therefore, you need to cultivate blessings more and more and more. It's, I have to repeat you li da gong, you create great merit, okay? And it's never enough. Don't ever say, tell me that, Master, I did this for you. I did that for you for 10 years now. Isn't that enough? Say, yeah, probably it's enough to bring you here today. But tomorrow, que sera, sera. Okay? So number one, that's what the lesson I learned from Master YongHua. And let me tell you, I'm lazy. I don't want to do it, okay? I really don't want to do this. But I'm very lazy. But I look at Master YongHua. He spent his entire life, especially, I don't know about the early years because we have no records of it. Very scanty records. But the records are since he landed here in San Francisco until the day he died. He basically worked his butt off. So don't whine to me that this is too much. Whenever you think this is too much, this is, on and on and on, look at Master YongHua. It's endless for him. And what he's doing, he's creating merit. He's li da gong. He's establishing, he's creating great merit. What he did is extraordinary, far-reaching consequences in a big, big scale. Okay? So that's the first thing you do, is this mindset. Okay? Don't be so petty and say, I've done enough. It's never enough. The corollary of it is that I'm never happy. Don't come to me and say, hey, Dad, I've been with you for 10 years. I did this for you. I clipped your toenails. I washed your balls for you. I say, yeah, it's not enough, man. Okay? And number two? Well, it's a good question. Number two? Wow. Don't quit. Losers are the ones who's that get so close to breakthrough, and they go berserk. They'll go, this is not enough. This is too much. Not fair to me. Oh, you pick on me, and you are nice to girls. That's true. I'm also mean to girls as well. You just don't see it, that's all. I'm nice to you too, but you don't even know how nice I am. And you see, you don't quit. Quitting is what losers do. When you do that, you pass the test, you'll be taught. And there's more. As you learn more about this, you see, pay attention to what Master YongHua says, because when we go through this, he says, he talks about the principles, and then all of a sudden he says, I have a comment. You left home people, number one, you should not be arrogant and fool yourself. Should not be jealous. I said, yeah, that's what I was at the temple. Yeah, we'll be there soon enough. Okay? All right, so you see, the three contemplations, that's what theoretically you're supposed to do, the reason for that, okay? And you will naturally do it as part of your training. All right? And the middle way contemplation is such that everything is interfused. This is the perfect teaching. This is the highest level of wisdom. Okay? All is one, one is all. The principles of totality. Okay? One substance. We are all one and the same. Yellow face, pale face, black face, brown faces, bearded people, short people, tall people, we're all the same. That's why it's all embracing. We don't say we better. We don't think that we only selectively teach this and not that person. There's no such a mindset, if you will. Okay? So this enlightenment requires you to have these three contemplations, yuan rong, interfused. Okay? The three truths interfused, meaning they're but one. You want to break them up and you say, okay, this is actually, the component is absolute truth, emptiness, relative truth, or mundane truth. And then middle way, you can break it up like that. Okay, that's for babies. Okay, but if you have wisdom, then you see that they are all interfused. They're all one and the same. So this concept here in Avatamsaka. They make it very clear. They keep on repeating it. Okay, yuan rong wu ai. So they perfectly intermingle, perfectly interfuse without obstruction. They don't obstruct each other. Meaning, from your perspective, when I'm mean to you, okay, that also includes I'm being nice to you. It also includes I don't give a damn about you. You understand? Huh? Is that possible? Yeah, I see. So for you to accuse me of being mean to you, unfair to you, actually it also includes my being fair to you. Make sense or not? It's so cool. Next. So, as I said, we are now on slide 625. As I said, it's not about understanding. I want you to understand these simple concepts. There's a theory or principle, okay? Everything is empty, for example, it's a principle. It's a theory behind it. Everything is empty. Okay? And then the specifics is very important. Specifics are actually specific items. Nomenon or principle is empty. But this item here, this specific thing here, the thing that's dear to you, like your girlfriend, is she empty? You say that I know everything is empty. Okay? The question is, this is the principles. Okay? In principle, it's empty. I'm asking you personally, is your girlfriend empty? Is your mother empty? Is the temple empty? Is fame empty? Is money empty? That's specifics. Okay? So there are interpenetration. Okay? They're both one and the same. And that's highest level of Buddhist wisdom. It's not something you can stand there and say, oh, I understand. It's not like that at all, like the scholars or the professors do. They say, of course, I heard of it before. Of course, I know what you're talking about. It's not that. Go Forrest.
Master, so last week we talked about middle-way contemplation, and it sounds to me like middle-way contemplation already have both the mundane contemplation and the emptiness contemplation. So now we talk about like the middle-way contemplation and the mundane contemplation and the emptiness contemplation interfused. What does that mean when something that already have the other two components interfuse with the other two components?
It means that you cannot separate them. What is empty is also real. You don't need to separate them. They're both true at the same time. So you don't need to discriminate anymore. They say, you're empty anyway, so what do I care? Or you are so nice to me, therefore I treat you more favorably. Okay, and you like that, then you lean on the mundane truth side, and you are ignoring the empty side of it. You may be nice to me, but you're empty, so I don't need to be nice to you. Okay? Any other questions?
Hello, Master. I was having similar thoughts with Ray, maybe just like engineering. Engineers thinking too much. But I think what he was trying to say is that there's already the true and then the mundane interviews, and that's already middle. So there's no three things interfused together. Middle is just the interfused version of the other two.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
So?
I don't know, just a comment. And I think sometimes I also heard in Chinese, it seems like they talk about 二地圆融, right? 三地圆融is actually the first time I heard about this. So maybe it's all the same, perhaps. But I just think that it makes more sense to me that the two interviews together is the third.
Yeah, that's what it says here in Chinese. You should read the Chinese.
No, it's just third. Sorry, the previous.
That's the middle way.
Slide.
The middle way is 序理具足, 不偏不别. That's the middle way.
What I was referring to is the previous slide commentary has 三地圆融. So the three contemplations interfused together.
Yeah.
Is that basically the same as the two contemplations interfused together? Is there any difference between the two?
There's a difference. You can take one as the Gongdi, the Chendi, is everything is empty. The other side, the other that's different is Sudi, everything is real. Okay, so they're separate by themselves. The third one, which is different from both of them, is that both are true at the same time. That's why it's called middle. It's not the same as the other two. It's a third kind of truth. You may know this truth of absolute truth. Everything is empty, but you may not know that the truth about the mundane truth. Or you may know one but the other. Okay? People of the world tend to lean on those. Okay? Whereas in the middle way, it's both. So it's a third kind of truth. It's not two, it's three. Three different kinds of truths. I don't know why you're confused.
So, and then the three things all interfuse together. The three type of truths. Yeah, I understand.
That's a third truth.
Yes.
The other first two are separate, they're different. One is different from the other. The third truth is that they're not different. How can you say it's the same truth? It's a totally different kind of truths.
I think what I was trying to get to is when you interfuse the first and the second, that become a third, right? So in that sense, the third is not distinct from the first and second. Sorry, Master. We can skip this.
You're speaking nonsense. You're speaking from you're trying to dissect something that's not dissectable. You're arguing using logic that's faulty. There are three different kinds of truth. One is zero, one is everything, one is both. It's that simple. You don't need to dissect it.
Thank you, Master.
You're trying to understand. And your understanding is faulty. Your approach is faulty. Okay, so yes, JMT.
네, 지금 말씀하시는 거를 제가 이해하려고 하다 보니까 그 예전에 그 조계종에 다녔을 때 있었던 일이 생각이 나는데, 제가 이제 예전에 저희 스승님께서 무아의 뜻이 세 가지가 있는데 그 세 가지 뜻을 말해보라고 하신 적이 있었어요. 상국스님 여기까지 먼저.
So this reminds me of some happening the last while I went to the Joge older temple. My previous master asked me about three kinds of no self.
본문을 이해하려고 하다 보니까 예전 기억이 난 건데.
So I'm trying to understand the Dharma talk, so it reminds me of my previous experience.
제가 그때 저희 그 스승님께 뭐라고 말을 했냐면 무아의 뜻 세 가지가 첫 번째가 내가 없다, 두 번째는 내가 있다, 세 번째는 내가 있는 것도 아니고 없는 것도 아니다고 대답을 했는데 지금 오고 가는 이 화엄경의 그거랑 조금 이해하는데 좀 이 접근이 좀 비슷한 건지 좀 여쭤보고 싶어요.
So my teacher asked me, "What is no self?" So I answers, the first one is there's no self, and the second answer is there's just self, and the third answer is neither self nor no self. So I'm wondering, my approach, is it similar to the Avatamsaka Sutra?
This recently or what?
그러니까 이 질문을 무아에 대한 세 가지 질문을 받았던 건 2005년도였어요.
2005, I got this question.
Yeah. There are actually 4 types of selves. But anyway, I'm not going to confuse you. Okay. The question should be, do you have a self? It's not about what type of self. Do you have a self? In Buddhism, we're only interested, the only thing that matters to us is, do you have a self? If you have no self, that's what we want. You have a self, whether it's black or white or yellow, it doesn't matter, it's still a self. Okay? That's point number 1. Point number 2, if your teacher has to ask you, do you have a self? Then you should ask the same, do you have a self? Why do you ask me, do you have a self? Who's the self who's asking me? Because if you have no self, you wouldn't bother asking me. You look at me, say, okay, you have a self. I have no self. I don't need to ask you. It's because I have a self. I ask you so that I'm trying to impress you with my knowledge. Or I give you a chance to impress me with your knowledge. If I have a self, it doesn't matter. I don't need to ask. I don't need you to impress me either. Yes, 7th.
Thank you, Master. There's a comment here from Empty Mirror. Master, this week I had a dream. A meteor hit near me, and I knew I couldn't reliably escape. So I sat in lotus and waited for the impact to get me. Is this type of acceptance that is being spoken about? Then he says, I didn't fight because I knew the end was imminent. When we see the truths as interfused, should that motivate us into action or to stillness?
That is different from what we're talking about. Let me remind you. Did I certify you to have a 4th-stage arhat? If I haven't certified you, don't worry about this. Listen in one ear and goes out the other. That's always worth. Okay? You try to understand now, it's not going to help. So the answer is, don't go there. It's okay. Whatever you want to do right now, it's okay. Be happy. That's the main thing. Next. That's it? Okay, very good. So, what in 624 is your theory? You have 3 truths that you need to understand. 3 truths, not 2, not 2.5. Okay? Don't argue the 3 different truths. Okay? And when you understand the 3 truths, and the way you got the 3 truths, you see, that's a theory, the 3 truths. And what we do is we train you so that you understand finally the middle truth. Okay, this is what the Chinese don't explain to you. That's why you Chinese, Asians, yellow-faced people are confused like hell. You keep on talking about this, the 3 truths, the 3 truths in Avatamsaka Sutra and so forth. And all of you keep on saying, oh, this is the highest level of wisdom. Okay? And you can talk all you want, but that is not going to help you. Because not something that's supposed to be something you understand. If you have the three truths here, we contemplate them. There's a way to contemplate to get them. And it's right here. Next slide, 625. The way you contemplate is 事理具足不变, 不别. This is how we help you realize those truths. It's not for you to come to me and say, I understand the difference between total emptiness and total truth and total reality and so forth. And then therefore with that too, there's no third because that they occupy everything already. That's rational thinking. What you need to do is if you go to the third truth, then you be at the state where 虚理具足不变不别. Okay, that's a middle way. Meaning that there's a principle and there is a manifestation of the principles. Okay? Principle is that I behave like an Asian man. Okay? Therefore, what I do, I swear. No, never mind. Okay, so there's a principle. And because it's principle, okay, I'll give you an example of principle. I'm an Asian man. He behaves like an Asian man. Therefore, I eat fish sauce, I swear, I smoke, whatever. Okay? Those are the specifics of each individual. Okay? And the middle way is that you get to the state where you understand that if you understand the three truths or the third truth, then you do it via the 虚理具足 or 不变不别. So this is the blueprint of how to get there. And this is what the Chinese don't explain to you, and therefore I won't explain to you either. It's beautiful. Why do you think they talk about 三谛圆融, 即真, 即俗, 即中? So everything is the same. And then they said next, 虚理具足不变不别. It's because this is how you get there. This is superior Chinese wisdom that we Westerners don't have. And the Chinese lost it nowadays. They don't know how to do it anymore. As soon as you see me classify Chinese, they lost it. Or if I see me here, hear me saying Hinayana, Mahayana, they don't have it. They don't understand this anymore. Okay? In Buddhism, we don't beat around the bush. Do you have it or not? You have it. Why are you so low? All right? And so this is the secret training program. That, for example, the Korean Sudims know how to do this up to a certain level, but high level, they don't know how to do it anymore. The Chinese, the same thing. They understand a little bit of how to get there, but now, because Master Hsuan brought it to the US already, the Chinese don't have it anymore. The Hinaya, for example, the Thai, they don't have this at all. Okay? And so forth. So you see, for us, it's very clear. Do you have it or not? Very much like the example of Jumi there. Are you selfless or not? That's what matters. Don't tell me about different types of selves. BS. Why does it matter 4 types or 3 types of self? Just have no self. That's the goal of Buddhism. That's the goal of cultivation. Would you like to spend time getting how to get to know self rather than investigating the 4 selves? Nonsense? Next. So it also now, in slide 626, Master YongHua connects it back to why they separate into Master Chucha, Master Jingliang separated into 4 different types of teachings. Okay, he says, if you look at a macro level, if you look at the Hinayana, they look at the micro level and said, I dig myself out of this whole called self. Okay, I want to get out of this self thing. That's micro level. Mahayana, we go macro level. And we say, why the Buddha taught them that way? Why the Christians are trained a certain way? Okay, because of the goals are different. Okay, and so the middle way in Mahayana, the ultimate wisdom you have, okay, is not leaning towards either way at all. Okay, it's not absolute. It's not mundane. Okay, and why? Because it says here, and this is when I read this initially 20 years ago, I was totally confused. So I bet you're confused too right now. You read this. This is what Master YongHua's. This is a good translation from Chinese. So the perfect teaching, contrary to the other teachings, is that they're unobstructed interpenetration, where one middle is just every middle, one false is every false, and one absolute is all absolutes. Just read it. Don't try to understand. Don't try to say, oh, this is actually two truths. Nonsense. Okay? Next, 627 text. It only teaches people whose faculties are the sharpest, highest caliber, so it is called the perfect.
但化最上立根之人，故名为圆。
628 commentary. Like it or not, it's about what you're capable of registering, what you're capable of absorbing. Okay? You take a sponge. You drip a few drops of water, it absorbs into the sponge. If you drop too much water, you open the faucet, then the sponge can no longer absorb the water. It's the same with us. Okay? The perfect teaching is for those people who can absorb a lot of teachings. So they're the highest caliber. Okay? And that's why it's called perfect. It's perfect because these people are very, very special. Okay. So earlier in the Chan class, earlier in the evening, I brought up an example of someone who has been following me, and I tried to tell him, teaching is not for you. Chan training is not for you. I should go, become Catholic or something. It's better for you, because it's you just cannot understand what we're talking about. Okay, you're not capable of. It's okay. Okay, you're better off doing something that you can absorb, that you can use right now, instead of being a lot more confused. Okay, and so this is, on the other hand, the other scale of the spectrum. There are individuals who are so high caliber. You explain this to them, and say, "Oh, of course, I got it. I understand. Of course, it makes sense to them." Okay, so that's why it's called perfect teaching, because it's the highest caliber individuals. So let me put it this way: For our teaching Mahayana, we don't discriminate. If you want to be born in the heavens, we teach you how to be born in the heavens. Okay? It's up to you. No one is forcing you. You want to go up all the way to Buddhahood, we teach you how to do that as well. We are not holding back. We're not choosing for you. You have to choose for yourself. If you are highest caliber, naturally you will reject the low levels. You yourself will do it naturally. Or you yourself will be drawn to the higher caliber teachings naturally. And don't talk to me about eventually. That's too long for me. Okay? So that's why this is now Master Shenhua and Master Xingliang is pointing out the fact there's a special group of people where they're of highest caliber, and therefore the Buddhist teaching can include those people. Okay? Include low-level people, because we only give them things they can absorb, meaning their wishes. You understand? What do you want out of life? That's you, not about the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. It's up to you. If you are content with this much, then we give you this much. You intend with a lot more, we give you a lot more, and challenge you to get more. Okay? It's up to you. But this Avatamsaka Sutra here is a proof. It has a capacity to accommodate people of the highest caliber as well people of lowest caliber. So why did I turn that guy away? Because he annoys me. Don't waste my time. You waste my time, I will turn you away. All right? But you look at the Buddhist teaching. As I was looking at this slide tonight, and I came up with this natural selection process, I realized, why did we have different types of teachings? First, the Buddha teach the Hinayana people, and then he taught the connective teaching, then he taught the separate teaching, then he taught the perfect teaching according to Master Chuta. The 4 types of teachings here. Why do you go through that? You see, it's a natural selection process. We're very gentle. It's just like a baby. You need to feed the baby with mother's milk first. Or maybe baby's formula that's not toxic. Okay? And then when he gets older, now you give him some real food. Congee and Gerber baby food or whatever. Okay? And you see, so you have to feed people accordingly. And therein, it's not just a natural selection process, but also are you able to nurture people accordingly? So first, the Buddha says, you guys are a bunch of externalists. You believe in Hinduism, you believe in whatever nonsense, yoga, whatever nonsense you have, and you're so keen on that. Okay, he showed off and said, yeah, see, you practice all these years, you're getting nowhere. Okay, let me tell you why. Because you have the wrong expectation, you have the wrong goals. And naturally, they open their wisdom. Okay, because the premises of your understanding are wrong. So that's what he did for the Hinayana people. He says, you externalists, you whatever non-Buddhist people, your premise is wrong because you go about cultivation the wrong way. That's why you won't be able to break through. It's because you have this wrong understanding. Okay? And then so that's the Agama teaching or the 3-store teaching. And then a lot of people made progress, okay? And they got there, and they got to fourth stage Arhat. The Buddha then looked at the fourth stage Arhat and said, all these people here, they have potential to go higher, okay? So of those, most of them, many of them stayed on. They say, okay, I'm happy. I stay in Thailand. I stay in Myanmar. I stay in Vietnam, whatever. I'm going to be, the Hinayana monk who uses cloth to take offerings. It makes me happy. Nothing wrong with that, okay? If that makes you happy, we're happy for you. We don't look down upon you. We don't criticize you. This is what you want. So be it. Okay? And then there's a group of people who says, this is not enough for me. Somehow, I'm not excited about this. Okay? It still it's not thrilling enough for me. I need real zombie kind of thing. Okay? Where it challenges my perception of reality. Okay? So that's why Buddha said, I have you something called connective teaching. Because let me give you some examples, some glimpses. What else? Okay? And then after that, a lot of people dropped off, except for a group of people, a big group of people, but small compared to the totality of a group of people. And then they move on to separate teaching, which teaches about enlightenment, the three contemplations. Okay? And then among those bodhisattvas, enlightened people, the group of people just like some of you who are so outstanding that you're pushed into the perfect teaching. So it's a natural. The cream rises to the top. You see that? And Buddhism, okay, is not forcing you. It's a natural progression for you. See? It's very much the same way as when you go to a university. When I go to university, I ask myself, how many degrees, how far can I go? Do I go from freshman all the way to PhD and postgraduate research or not? If you have that, now I know I'm being prepared accordingly. That's Mahayana for you. You can choose to stay and graduate with 2-year degree, so diploma, 4-year degree, 5-year degree, whatever, okay? But you have all these choices. You can rise as high as you want to. If some people say, I'm perfectly happy down here, be happy. That's the main thing. And when you become unhappy, come see me again. If someday when your woman says, I don't love you anymore, come see me. Yeah? All right. Next, 629. And so you see, Master YongHua says, this is sort of very wordy. Basically, he says, there's this group of people called superior talents, top-notch caliber people, who if you give them anything less, they look at you and say, nah, something about you that doesn't impress me. Okay? And therefore, Master YongHua says this is something is funny. He says, because of that, I'm just extrapolating for you a little bit. Because of that, he says, no, I don't want you. You get out of my way, okay? And then they take whatever they're practicing Okay? And they turn that into a sublime thing. So people with potential will make things happen for themselves. Whereas if you give them this Avatamsaka Sutra, which is the highest level of wisdom possible for us to achieve, and give it to them people, they don't get it. So this thing here, this beautiful thing here, becomes distorted, becomes banal. Is that such a word in English? Banal is French. Banal is French. Banal? Español? Banal too. Banal. Banal in French is much softer. Okay? So, Master Xinhua, it's not about the Dharma, it's about the individual. Is he sublime or not? Okay? All right? So that's why your roots is important. You plant those roots. You have good roots or not, deep roots or not. So far, so good? This doesn't lie. This is a fact. If you're a sublime person, you're a superior person, you will be unhappy. What is served to you could be put on a gold platter, all the music and all the mariachi music, huh? You still want more. You see? It's that thirst inside of you, that your standards are higher. Okay, and therefore, that right there will bring you to the search. That's what he's referring to. This teaching here. Even though you're not there yet, you plant the seeds to be there, the seeds of discontent. It says, gotta be something more profound than this. And can be a lot more embracing than this. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Master. Could that discontent be also because you want to share that with others and they are confused still?
The discontent is because you've seen it before. It's very much like you drink a nice imported beer, and after that, you drink Budweiser? Seriously? You understand? So you're supposed to be impressed by Miller High Life after you have champagne? The same thing. So the trick is that you get there, you have a taste of it. And from then on, forever, you have this standard. It's very high. You say, I need more than this. I need more than this. Naturally. Whereas you say, oh, I'm perfectly happy. That's because that's all. There's no point in pretending. We are who we are. And you are, all of you, are planting the seeds of discontent. There's got to be something more profound than this. I don't want you to walk out of here and say, oh, I know everything about Buddhism. I achieve everything. I'm cool. No, you're not cool. You're too low. You don't understand anything. Okay? You don't understand middle way. Okay? It's something called middle way. And we're not talking about Jumi, about no self, okay? No self is for high school. Yes, sir, in the back.
Master, do eventually we drop the notion of middle way as well?
When you get there, you know. You know, you're not even there yet, so why do you want me to comment on something so far away for you? Okay? Anyone else? No questions? No smart aleck comments? Yes, 7. Oh, I didn't mean the old comments are smart alecks. Go ahead, 7.
Jung says, same expression in Danish, go banal.
Go banal? No, he says go banal. They add a go. Yeah. How banal? Okay? Banal in French means it's so ordinary in a very low level sense. Like you're so commonplace. Banal is so ordinary in a derogative way. That's banal. Is that the same meaning in the other languages? Yeah? French is very, very haughty, the people. Yeah. Bouf. Bouf. They don't say yuck like here. Bouf. Bouf. How do you say it in Espanol? Bof? They don't have it. See, the French are very expressive. They have all these classes of people. We rank them, you know, banal or no class, unelegant, you know, no style. Yeah? Okay? All right. I think we don't have enough time to keep going, right? So let me have 5 more minutes. Let me continue. 5:30, the Flower Adornment Sutra says, to display the power of sovereign mastery, he speaks for them the perfect total sutra.
华严经云：显现自在力，为说圆满经。
Okay, let me see how much room I have. Okay, 631. So the text says, he says, in order to reveal the true power, okay, your true power, the Buddha's true power, the power, what kind of power of uncalculated? I love this, Master Shino, these comments are so fascinating. Uncalculated, okay? Meaning that, are you calculating? He's calculating, okay? Are you uncalculated? Uncontrived, he's not trying to please anyone, okay? Perfect, okay? This is a perfect knowledge. You cannot find more complete, more perfect, more total knowledge than this. That's being shared with you, given to you in the sutra. Nothing can be higher. If it were the case, this would not be perfect. Okay? Interpenetrating. Okay? All these truths are interpenetrating, unobstructed, unstoppable, if you will. Cannot be stopped. This power cannot be stopped. Self-mastery. So the power of sovereign mastery here, and my question was, if it says sovereign mastery, because they translated this kind of weird, 显现自在力, and somehow they translated it as sovereign mastery. 圆满经, Perfect Total Sutra, that's okay. But somehow they introduced the concept of sovereign mastery in there. I found it kind of weird. Maybe you Chinese-speaking people can fill in the blanks for me. Because to me, from a Buddhist perspective, if it's mastery, why does it have to be sovereign? Self-mastery, meaning you're the only one who's in control of yourself, not your wife, not your husband, not your boss, not your master. You have self-mastery. Okay? Then why does it need to be sovereign? Okay? So anyway, I think sovereign is not necessary. You should strike out sovereign here. That's my approach. Self-mastery is self-mastery. It's not sovereign, not inferior, not better, not weak, not strong. It's self-mastery. Okay? Questions? All right. That's all I have for you today. Next time we do 6:32. Thank you, everyone.